want to talk for just a second about how we can use online tools and the data that it provides on formal and informal assessment to drive our instruction and help our students improve learning. So for formal assessment, one thing that I found, I don't know if you're familiar with it or not, are plickers. Okay, this is a plicker card, and every card looks a little bit different. And how this works is you can create multiple choice or true and false questions, and the students will just hold it up. Like this has an A up here, so if they want A to be the answer, they'd hold this, or B, etc. And the awesome thing about that is that it's completely anonymous. All it shows is their name that they've held up their card, but they don't know if they're getting the answer right or wrong until we show them, and no one knows if they picked A, B, C, or D. It involves all the students. In fact, all my students really enjoy this. They're like, are we going to do plickers today? Oftentimes I use them as exit tickets, so after a lesson, I can just put it up and I can see how the students are doing and understanding. So I'll give you a little bit of an example of this. We did this for reflections, okay? And on my reflection lesson here, you can see this is what a screen might look like. I make these beforehand. You can have 5 cards in a set when you're using the free version. And I just ask them true or false. And then I can show the graph to see this is what our students think. Most of us think it's true. And I can even reveal the answer. And again, it's completely anonymous. The kids will see their names up there, but that just means that they provided an answer is all. They won't see whether they got it right or wrong. They'll just know that when I show the answer. This has great reports for me afterwards too. So you can see when you go into the student reports, it shows me how many they got right out of 5. Some got 100%, some are low. And this is super valuable. I love that I can do this high to low, because right away I know, okay, these are my 5 or 6 students that are still struggling with this concept after we've taught it, after we've done this activity. And by the 5th one, I hope they've gotten it, because it's kind of that summarization of what we've done. So I can be like, these are the kids that I need to reach out to and work to. They're my low ones. And I can also scroll down and look at the questions and see if there was one question we struggled with more than another. So really valuable for just that informal, formative assessment that we do as teachers. So I love it as exit tickets. Another great tool, I'm sure most teachers are using Mastery Connect. If not, it is a powerful tool. I'll share some reports with you there. But one of the great things about Mastery Connect here is that when we're done, we can look at this reports, and I've created reports for my school. So when I go into these reports, I can see right away which questions they struggle with. Is there a question that they seem to struggle with more than another? When I take a look at my data here, I can see that question 12 seems to be one that more students got wrong than the others. And it's kind of spread out. It's not like it's all just one answer. So we go back and we look at our test and we're like, oh yeah, this was the one on systems of equations where we didn't just have them like graph and tell me what the solution was, but we actually said which point would be a solution, and they had to be able to stick it back in and solve. And that was a concept that was a little bit tricky for our students. We struggled with systems of equations because we taught it so fast, but it was a good idea for we either need to teach this question better or maybe change it up a little so that it's more accessible for the students. Question 17 is one where we were on comparing functions, and you can see that it was either they got it right or they got it wrong, and if they got it wrong, they pretty much chose A. That was intentional. That was one of our ones where we were like, okay, this would be the mistake we think they're going to make, and we want to know who's making that mistake. So again, that's another way to use these tools to really help drive how you're going to, help your students once you see, okay, these are my students that are still making that mistake, and how do I fix that? And then finally, we get down to our multiple choice section where we now see some emerging mastery. So again, looking at question 26, I do have some in that yellow emerging, but I also still have a lot below mastery. And again, this is the systems of equations ones, which we taught too quick. So as a team, we were able to sit back and evaluate and say, hey, we got to do better getting this covered, or maybe we need to take another day on this because this seems to be the topic from this test that our students are still struggling with. So great ways that we can use online tools to help drive our instruction and help our students perform better.